Hi, welcome back to Measure for Measure. My name is Sean Casey, and this is a show where we speak with songwriters about the songwriting craft and what they're up to and the songs that they're writing. Today I have Andrew James and Elizabeth Patterson, and they are in a duo now, I think called the All Stars, right?
Yep, the Owl Stars.
And generally, what I like to do is keep the show kind of not really about as much, you know, uh, boilerplate history, or
Sure.
this is where I'm from. But of course, it's nice to have a little bit of context of who you are. So if you can each tell us a little bit about yourself and your musical background.
Sure. I'll go first. Andrew James. I grew up in Milton, Vermont, not too far from here. I've been playing music out in the Burlington scene, kind of more on a consistent basis since 2007. I've been writing songs for a long time, most of my life, I'd say. Yeah.
All right, and you play guitar and
I do.
vocals?
I play acoustic guitar, and I sing, and I write songs.
All right.
I'm Elizabeth Patterson. I'm from Milton, Vermont as well. We have been playing music together for 15, 17 years.
Since 1995.
Something like that, yes. And we've been married for 15 years.
We have been.
We've been playing music together in the Burlington scene I have since 2010.
Yep.
We've played with Citizen Bear
Yep.
for 8 years, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Citizen Bear was a project that John Grattan and I started back in 2007. We played as a duo for about 3 years, and we just decided that it would be a good time to expand the band in 2010. So we did that. We added Jesse Cowan on bass, Darren Savard on drums, and then Elizabeth ended up joining us when we were looking for a keyboard player who could sing. It was actually quite convenient because I was just like, well, we could just use Elizabeth. I mean,
Executive privilege. We could just. I won't. I'll ask her. She'll be Tuesday. It's all right. I know her. I know her
About
pretty
it.
well.
I definitely had to
I know her
think
pretty
about
well.
it.
yeah. Elizabeth was actually, and she's probably going to hit me for saying this, but in high school she was training to be on Broadway. So, and she'd been playing piano since she was 3.
Yeah, I
So, I
always
mean,
wanted to be a musician. Always did.
You know, looking for somebody to fill those the requirements was, they could harmonize and they could play the piano, and obviously at a pretty high level she could do both. So it worked out well. And again, executive privilege.
But it's amazing the interplay is from a practical standpoint. It's a lot easier because you have reasonably similar schedules as far as
Right.
you kind of know what the other one's going to be doing before you book a gig, or
Yes.
being able to find time to practice and that type of thing. But it has a lot of. I'm fascinated by the sort of the dynamic of being a couple having a marital relationship and a musical relationship,
Yeah.
and the have how those overlap a little bit.
They a lot.
Do you find that your music is sort of more grounded in family and the daily goings on of life than maybe ethereal things that you might have tripped your fancy before to write about? More like down to earth.
Some.
Yeah, I mean, probably. Just because Elizabeth and I were in the ministry, in the Christian ministry for 10 years. So when I was writing music back, between 1997 and
Yeah.
2007, a lot of that was like literally more ethereal, because I was writing about God and I was writing about my experiences in religion. And so, kind of in 2007, maybe 2005, it started to, slowly slowly come back to the more practical things.
Well, you wrote a lot about social justice for a little while, and you know, part of our travels, and
Yeah.
a lot of just experiences that we've had together. So it's sort of natural to write more. I think you write more sometimes about relationships and family now because that's our current experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Now, the first song that we're going to hear is a song called Take My Hand. Hold My Hand.
Hold my hand.
Hold My Hand, I'm sorry. And can you tell me a little bit about the background of the song? How long ago you wrote it?
Sure. Let's see. I wrote that song probably in 2012. And yeah, that's I call that my zombie love song. And you know, it's just it's a song about relationships, but you know, just this idea of if a husband came home from work or a wife came home from work and they were infected with the zombie virus, then they would infect their spouse, you know, and just relating that to a more practical level, you know, taking the zombies out of it. You know, I think it's a song about how we can bring home some of the things that we pick up in the outside world, and we bring that back to our relationships, you know, at home. Lost the dogs, all the others who were more like, do you like the way that I am?
Thank you for playing that for us. Now, I am interested in the the imagery of a a zombie love song, because I know that there's been a lot of talk about, like, vampire
Yep.
genre of film and everything, that it's a very intimate thing, that idea of sharing, sort of consuming each other,
Yeah.
in some way, and when, of course, the zombie renaissance happened,
Yeah.
and all the that was all of a
Right.
sudden
Yep.
big, and all these television programs and stuff. This whole idea of that was being explored of, this odd, not just a like a that's here's me and there's a monster type thing. It's much more of an intimate thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you talk about bringing back relationships or things from the outside, I suppose they can be helpful and they can be hurtful.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And were you thinking basically of that, of more of sort of the challenges of bringing something from outside, and how they can really be difficult for in a relationship, or like the other way, where gee, it's funny, I can bring this experience back and we can share it.
Really, I was thinking about it both ways. If the imagery that I have in my head with that song, "Hold My Hand," is when one of them comes home and they're infected, and the other partner going out of their way to really take care of the person who's feeling ill, and then becoming infected themselves, because they're just not willing to admit that this other person is past the point of being reconciled. So the husband or the wife then becomes sick with the zombie virus. A lot of times when you're talking about zombies, you're talking about like a large apocalypse. You're talking about something out in the community, something big, something that affects all of us. What I wanted to do was take something big, something that affects the whole community, in my song, and I wanted to bring it and make it very intimate between two people. So instead of seeing like like World War Z, where all the zombies are crawling up the buildings and they're trying to get to the last people, just this.
They're in your house.
It's the intimacy of that. And what would happen to a married couple? What would happen to two people who loved each other? I think the thing that fascinates me and scares me the most about zombie movies is watching somebody actually transition into a zombie. And it affects me a lot to see that transition. It gives me strong feelings and emotions, and I wanted to put that into a song. I wanted to express that, this idea that you take something large and you bring it, you make it kind of intimate.
Mm-hmm. About how the world can infect us individually and then collectively, and but what an invasion to have that from the outside world come into, the absolute center, of your relationship, and become part of that.
Yes.
Now, Elizabeth, do you write it as well?
I don't really. I sometimes add some things to what Andy is working on, but I haven't written songs in a while. I'm interested in playing around with it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It never goes away. Eventually, you'll come
Yeah.
back to it. But
Yeah.
do you both kind of work on? I assume you work on arrangements and that type of thing, and
Yeah.
you have certain ideas of what you think would really sound good
Absolutely.
for harmony or piano part.
Yep. Absolutely.
And do you find that easier in the duo than the band, as far as obviously there's fewer moving parts too, but as far as being on sort of the same page about maybe tempo or the general feel of a song. You know that it's maybe less complicated with a duo.
I think so. I mean, I think, well, because I'm comfortable with Andrew, I think I can just say what I think, and he can say what he thinks, and yeah, I feel like I can add things to our music.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, for me, there's pluses and minuses to everything.
Absolutely.
You know, when it's just the two of us, it's easier for me to get a complete idea out. But that being said, a lot of what the band offered to the song ends up helping the song, you know, and moves it forward in a way that I wouldn't have taken it. So, for instance, you know, in Hold My Hand, when we hit that bridge, and it's take me, make me part of you, Jesse, the bass player, and Ryan, the saxophone player from Citizen Bear, when we played that with Citizen Bear, they were very adamant that needed to come way down in order to bring up the emotion of the song, you know, so that we would have a place to go, and it wouldn't always just be loud, 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 you know. There would be that dynamic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Elizabeth offers me that feedback as well, but it's just, you know, when it's just the two of us, we're not going to hear all the possibilities of where the song could go.
True.
Yeah.
When you have different perspectives, it's interesting.
Sure.
But yeah, and yet also, there's not as much an issue, I would assume, of like egos. In other words, you could pretty much feel comfortable, like that saying something about a song, and Andrew's not gonna take it the wrong way, or I don't have to,
Well, he might. He might.
Yeah, I suppose it's always possible.
But then, that's just part of what we do together. I mean,
Yeah.
we love doing this together, and there's good and bad parts of it, so it's okay.
We had a really awesome working relationship with Citizen Bear, and a lot of times when we would go and do interviews as a band, like people would say, "Wow, you guys like genuinely like each other." You know, and I think that because it
comes across in the music.
It's hard to be in a band for a year, 2 years, and we did Citizen Bear for 8 years, and we still get together. Jesse just joined us yesterday, and sometimes John will join us, or Ryan, or Jake, or Dwayne, or any of the past members will join us. So
because we're all friends, and
to get back to your point, it's definitely easier when there's just two voices.
Yep.
Yeah, and it is difficult to, as you say, have a long time with a bunch of people, and especially creative people, because usually they're you're very passionate about your take on something.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Whether even when you're not the songwriter per se, but if you, I really, if I'm going to be playing on this, this tempo is all wrong, or something like that. And sometimes there'll be people, that just, that can't agree, and they're both very, very passionate, coming from the same thing, a love of the art and the process, but just a different view of that specific take, that song.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's with music. Elizabeth and I have always felt like we've been doing this together now since 1995.
When we met.
We met in chorus.
Yeah.
Then with the Milton Community Theater Company.
Yeah.
We did
and
four.
So many things.
We did 4 musicals together. But just the point of
Yeah.
music for us has always been something that's been communal.
Mm-hmm.
So the really wanting to be, keep other people's dignity more important than the music or
Than how I want the song.
right.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that everybody feels like they're being heard, everyone feels like they have a say in it. I wrote most of the music for Citizen Bear, but when somebody made a significant contribution to a song, always tried to make sure that they got credit for that, you know, because I knew that if I was just like, no, this is the way the song is and this is the way I want it to be played, it would kind of be harder for people to get into it, you know.
It changes the vibe of what's happening
Yeah.
creatively. Like it puts the lid on things when you start being negative at all, really. So, yeah. And I think that's the same with us doing music together. We've always done music together, and it's pretty much the same way we do other parts of relationship together. I mean, it's just our life and things that we like to do, and and it's not always great, but it's great.
The same.
You know?
There's a loving perspective there, so there's not, it's not a pure, an ego-driven thing or that type of thing.
Or a business relationship.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would definitely say that the two of us, I have the bigger ego, for sure. And
I agree.
Elizabeth was very kind, but no, sometimes she'll be like, no, I really think it should be this way, and I just, I'm just like, no, that's not the way I want it. And, being married, you take the good and you take the bad, and sometimes I feel a little bit more comfortable to be like, no, I don't like that, and I'm not even willing to try it. But because we spend so much time together, I can then be like, that was a really uncool way to handle that, and then I can go back to Elizabeth and be like, okay, let's just try it this way. Like I've had a chance to process it, and I'm definitely willing to try it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done music together for so long. Like, if I'm going to do a harmony for something that Andy's written, I sort of anticipate where he's going with the song because I just know how he writes and kind of what he's thinking about the way it should be played. And it's nice to try all kinds of different additions to the music. I think that really helps us broaden our perspective, but I don't know. Yeah.
Now this, let's hear another tune.
Sure.
And the tune we're going to hear, I believe you're going to sing lead on.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the song.
So the song is called First Time, and that was you'd asked at the beginning about family, and this is a song I wrote about our two girls, and I really felt very strongly like I really wanted a female vocalist, and
you have one?
A really good one. I kind of gave the song to Elizabeth, and at first she balked. She's like, "No, you have to sing this." And I'm like, "No, this."
Yeah. Well, I liked what you did with it. I liked the way you did it.
Yeah, this song is meant for you. So.
Yeah.
It's like the first time I saw you, baby. My heart grew bigger, my life so bright.
Thank you for that. Now, about the song, the
First time?
for the first time, sorry, the tell me a little bit about the family dynamics behind that song a little bit.
Sure. That song was one that I had written about our girls, and so I wrote it, and I had this idea that I really wanted a female voice. That was the narrator of the song to me. And so I took it to Elizabeth, and at first she was like, no, I really want you to sing this. But a lot of times when we're out, because I do most of the lead singing, we have people asking for Elizabeth to sing more, and that's kind of how I wrote the song. So I really pressed for her, like, no, this is your song. We'll do whatever key you want. Change the lyrics however you want to change them so that you're comfortable and they feel like your voice. But that's really how that's how I envisioned the song when I was writing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and do you do you find it easier to sort of interpret Andy's songs than maybe cover tunes? Because they're a little bit more like where they're coming from a little more.
I sometimes, but I mean, this song is a little bit different because it is about our girls, and it's more clear. But a lot of times I don't know what his songs are about, honestly. Not this one, but a lot of songs I don't really have a sense of really what they're about, because they're about so many different things, and they're about like where he's at right now and his perspective on all kinds of different things. So I don't always find it easy to interpret his songs. Sometimes it's easier with covers because I know it's coming from someone else, and there's already images painted in our head about what the songs are about, and where the people are coming from, and stories we hear. So it depends.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think, and you're a songwriter, so you'll probably, I know you'll feel this way as well. When you go out and you play a song for the first time for somebody, just the emotion of being out there changes the song a little bit. So you let the song kind of be malleable, and you work it, So
figure it out.
And Elizabeth, as I mentioned before, she was training to be on Broadway, and those are songs that have scores and they have distinct melodies, and you can go and you can listen to the professional recordings, and a lot of times,
And their stories.
they are. But a lot of the times you'll ask me, you'll be like, well, how do you want this to be sung? And I go, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, because for me, I do work out a bit of melodies and tempos and dynamics when I go out and I play the song.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have those the freedom to take it in a different way, sometimes just off the cuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not as easy when you're in a duo or a band, but when as far as like if you're singing and you want to phrase something a little bit differently, you can do that.
Yeah.
Now, will you sometimes change things up at the kind of in the moment in the song, as long as obviously not?
I do sometimes, I think the more comfortable that I am on stage, wherever that may be, I'm more comfortable just feeling it out and, being more part of the song. It's probably more when I think about it that I will do things exactly the way that I planned.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the freedom to be able to, change little parts here and there, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, about writing, do you, first of all, you're writing a lot lately, because I know that everyone goes through ebbs and flows.
Right.
How's it been lately as far as?
I've actually, I've taken the pressure off myself. I used to, between 2005 and 2014, would try to write about 40 songs a year. And just, you know, and obviously not all those songs you're going to play out in front of people. And now, kind of since 2014, 2015, I worry less about the amount of songs that I get out there. And I do, I just try to think, okay, is this something that I want to play out? Is this something that I would want to listen to somebody else sing? You know, and try to take it from a bit of a different perspective. I think that certainly the amount of the songs that I am willing to play out in front of people that I've written have gone up per year as the total number of songs that